I'm going to teach you how to go from 0 to 10 pull-ups in 4 stages. So stage 1 is doing dead hangs, and you're going to do this about 3 times a week. 2 is fine, 3 is best. This is going to train our grip strength and shoulder flexibility. If you can't hang on to the bar, you can't do pull-ups. If your shoulders can't take moving through that kind of range of motion, you can't do pull-ups. So when you grip onto the bar, you can put your thumb in either position, either opposite your fingers around the bar or on the same side as the bar. Personally, I prefer to go the same side. I feel like I have a bit more grip. I want you to think of your hand not as a hand, but as a hook. When I do pull-ups, my hand is not a hand. We have really delicate, intricate hands that can perform all sorts of fine motor skills, but for pull-ups, they're pretty useless. We just want hooks. We just want something to clip us onto the pull-up bar. That is how I think of my hands during pull-ups. And the second thing is, don't shrug. Try and activate your upper back. Do not let your shoulders come up and touch your neck. You want to be active throughout this dead hang. Hang for as long as you can. Once you can do 3 sets of 30 seconds, then move to stage 2. Stage 2 is partial movements, and there's 2 partial movements that we need to do in this stage. So scapular pull-ups. This is going to be used to develop some mind-muscle connection with the back, and also the stabilizing muscles that stabilize our shoulder joints. Now, things I want you to think about when you're doing this movement is we're only moving at the shoulder joint. There is no elbow flexion, there's no bend in the elbows. We're almost trying to do a pull-up without bending our arms. This is really hard, and it takes some getting used to. It feels weird. I like to have a bit of a backwards lean, like a gangster lean. I would consider myself a bit of a gangster, and when you do pull-ups, you want to have a gangster lean. You want to lift your chest up a little bit. When you're doing these scapular pull-ups, you almost want to be at like a 20-degree angle. It's just going to help you activate your back better. And the movement is all initiated with your shoulder blades. Your goal is to do 3 sets of 10. Once you can do 3 sets of 10, you're going to do some negative pull-ups. I've talked a bit about negative pull-ups before. This is like building strength in reverse. So there's 2 portions of any movement. There's the eccentric portion and the concentric portion. In a pull-up, when we're moving our body weight up towards the bar, that's the concentric part, and the body is weaker during concentric movements. When we're lowering ourselves down from a pull-up, that's called the eccentric movement, and the body is much, much stronger in the eccentric movement. So we're going to take advantage of this, and we're only going to train our body through the eccentric movement because we're going to build that strength base in a way that is more manageable for our muscles. So you're going to use a chair, your legs, or you're just going to jump to the top position and then slowly lower yourself down from the top position. Don't get lazy. Take your time. Really try and squeeze that rep out. Try and get 5 seconds on the way down. Once you can do 3 sets of 8 negative pull-ups, with each one being about 5-second descent, then you can move on to stage 3. Stage 3 is purely assisted pull-ups. And again, you can use a resistance band or you can use your legs. If you use a resistance band, loop it through the pull-up bar and either put your knee or your foot through it. Here we're going to add in that concentric part of the movement that we talked about, and that is in this case the upward part of the pull-up where the body is weaker. This will be way harder to get yourself up to the pull-up bar than it is to slowly lower yourself down. That's why we're adding the assistance here. So we talked about having hooks as hands. So our hands are no longer hands, they're hooks. We've got our gangster lean. We've got our scapula retracted. We've got our back activated. And now we want to imagine that we're pulling the bar down. We're not pulling ourselves up to the bar. We're trying to pull the bar down. So we want to activate our scapula first, activate our upper back first, and then pull. Like we're taking the slack out of a rope before we go for that pull-up. And the goal at this stage is 3 sets of 8 reps assisted pull-ups. Once you can do that, you can move on to stage 4. And so begins stage 4. This is our unassisted progression. You don't have to rush this. This part is going to probably take the longest time out of any of the stages, probably the first 3 stages combined. So look at this graph. So the first 3 stages, progress is quite fast. We can make quite a lot of progress with these basic movements that we're building up strength, we're building up our base. There is no rush. You don't have to be able to do pull-ups by next week or even by next year. Even if you're stuck on stage 2 for the next 6 months, that's fine because there's still adaptations that will come from doing stage 2. There's still benefits, muscular benefits, joint benefits. Even if you are not on stage 4, even if you are not progressing your unassisted pull-ups, that is fine. There is still benefit in that. Even if you only do assisted pull-ups for the rest of your life, that's still fine. There's still benefit to be had. But once you finish stage 3 and you move on to stage 4, I want you to start each pulling workout by doing maximum unassisted reps. Now don't hurt yourself, don't go beyond what you can actually do, but I want you to do maximum unassisted reps. This might be 2 reps, this might be 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. The first 2 sets of any of your pulling workouts should be unassisted. Even if you can only get 2 reps, that's fine. First 2 sets of your workouts, unassisted pull-ups. Then for all the other sets, whether that's 2 more sets or 3 more sets or even 4 more sets, add assistance back in. 1 to 2 sets of unassisted and then 3 to 4 sets of assisted pull-ups for each workout. And slowly you are going to add reps to your unassisted pull-ups. So you might start at 2 reps, then you might have to do 4 reps and then 6. Eventually, over the months that go by, you will notice that you can do more and more pull-ups. How are you going to notice this? You need to keep track. You need to get a notebook, you need to get your phone, something to keep track of the reps you do, the date, how many sets you did, how many reps you did. Keep track of it, keep track of your progress, and you will notice improvements. I would recommend doing pull-ups at least 2 days a week, 2 times a week doing a pulling workout that includes pull-ups. Once a week is okay, but 2+ times per week is the sweet spot for stimulating and then keeping positive adaptations. And every week you should be trying to aim for more reps. Every time we do it, we want to do a little bit more, just 1% more, a tiny bit more every single time that we train, every time we work out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If I missed anything and you want to add anything, leave that in the comments. I hope you found this video somewhat helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.